All right, hi you guys. This is going to be a video tutorial on how to write a letter to an elected official. All right, so this is going to be how you demonstrate proficiency in the National Health Standard of demonstrating advocacy. Okay, it is a life skill, one that you may continue to use throughout your lifetime, and a really important one. So at the end, you are going to have the option of sending your letter or not sending your letter. I will be grading you on if you follow the format and directions and how making sure that your letter makes sense and supports what it's asking them to do, and everything like that is logical. But this is something that this is a great way to practice. Obviously, the most impactful thing is probably meeting with them face to face, but probably the second best is writing a letter. Okay, and so we're going to practice that. All right, the letter will be from one person in your group, but you will all write it together. So here we go. Okay, so you are going to either contact a federal legislator or a state level legislator. All right, probably going to be determined by the time of year and what quarter it is, as the state legislators are not in session in the fall until late January. So first and second quarter, you're going to probably for sure focus at the federal level. Third and fourth quarter, you're going to have a few more options with the state level or federal level. All right. But before we dig in too far, let's just figure out why advocacy and why this skill is an important skill. Okay, here we go.
Well, social advocacy has its roots in the Latin word to speak on behalf of. So people, when they speak up on something or speak on behalf of it, they're really taking a stand or a position. And the reason they do that is because of some concern that has driven them to that. So normally you don't speak up and take a stand unless something has really pushed you to it. Most people advocate almost as a last measure as opposed to the first measure. So typically advocates arise out of social conditions that are worrisome for some reason. Something isn't to people's liking, and so they speak up. And there are a whole range of social issues that people have advocated for. And typically they don't do it alone either. They do it in conjunction with others. So there's various forms of individual advocacy where individuals speak up, but there are also collective forms of advocacy. And in the broadest sense, these are social movements. And the social movement really isn't that everybody's on the same page, but they, by and large, are moving in similar directions, and they link up and then sometimes join their voices together. So the causes for them to speak up, of course, vary, but there is a strong similarity in almost in their unhappiness with conditions. That really is the beginning of some kind of effort at advocacy. Well, advocacy is important because it draws attention to something that's not getting sufficient or adequate attention. If people weren't able to advocate, then many unjust, unfair, unreasonable things would be allowed to prevail. And we can sometimes stop those things by speaking up if there's enough opposition to them. But where there is no independent advocacy or the capacity to speak up, then it breeds a kind of unfairness, or it entrenches it, both really. And so we're lucky to live in countries where you're allowed to speak up, because even in our countries there is a kind of pushback if you speak up. There may be a price for speaking up, but the cost to people is so much less than in countries where they come and arrest you and take you away and that sort of thing. So.
All right, so clearly important, right? Clearly important. So you are, in this case, going to find one bill, but check with your teacher to see how many bills total they are requiring in that particular quarter or that term. All right, so for this quarter, you guys are going to find one bill, most likely at the federal level, and then ask an elected official, specifically one who can vote on that bill, because they don't get to vote on all the bills, to either support it or to vote against it, whichever you think would help the people suffering or dealing with your issue and topic the most. Okay. Again, I told you before that letter writing was really impactful. President Obama actually was known for reading letters, not something that every president does or does it nearly as often as what he did. So we're just going to watch a couple minutes of this clip so you can kind of see how the process works.
These letters, I think, do more to keep me in touch with what's happening around the country than just about anything else. Some of them are funny, some of them are angry. A lot of them are sad or frustrated about their current situation.
In his first week as president, he asked for 10 letters every day. And every day since, we've given it to him. We get 65,000 paper letters every week. We get something like 100,000 emails, 1,000 faxes, 2,500 to 3,500 calls per day. And our job is to take all that information in, to do the best analysis we can about what we're hearing from the public, and respond individually to all those folks so they know that the president is listening. Anyone that sends a message to us, it comes into our offices. Our staff sorts through them. They identify those that meet our 3 tests. Are they something that's representative of the mail that's coming in? Is it representative of something in the news? And is it something that's a compelling message? We pile that mail together. Some of it ends up here on my desk. I sort through it, categorize it by issue, and then every day I go through them and pick the 10 that best represent what's happening right now. And it's a good dialogue, a direct relationship between constituents who have these concerns and the president, who desperately wants to get those messages. The president's talked about being in a bubble, and our job is to make sure that he gets out of it every day.
All right, so you get the idea, okay? So you may want to take notes on this area, on this video. They're going to kind of tell you roughly what should be in each paragraph. And in this slideshow, I'll go over it again, but again, it might be good to have this in front of you as well.
How to write to your congressperson. Writing to your congressperson is an easy and effective way to express your opinion on issues that are important to you. The first step is to find the name and official address of your congressperson. It can be a physical mailing address or an email address. Your congresspersons can be located using websites like senate.gov and house.gov. If you want to contact your governor, use usa.gov, and for state legislatures, use congress.gov. By the way, all of these links are available in the description box below. Step 2. Gather your supplies. You'll need a pen and paper or a computer to write your letter. Step 3. Write your letter. You may have a large number of issues that you care deeply about, but when you draft your letter, choose just one. You can write more than one letter, but make sure each letter has a specific purpose and topic. At the top of your letter, write the full address of your congressperson. Next, formally address your congressperson by name. Then get down to business. Begin with a paragraph stating your name and your purpose for writing. In your next paragraph, provide specific examples, information, or evidence to support your beliefs. Make sure you've done research on your topic and include the title of any pieces of legislation that relate to your issue if it applies. In your last paragraph, make a call to action. Tell your legislator what you want them to do. End with a proper closing. Proofread your letter and make any necessary revisions. Step 4. Mail your letter. Send your letter by email or place your letter in the nearest mailbox and let the U.S. Postal Service whisk it away to your representative. Once it arrives, the legislator's staff will read your letter and pass the information along to your congressperson. Above all, remember, your voice matters.
All right, so you can read the rest of the slide here on your own, but let's dig in and figure this out. All right, so the first thing you have to do is find a bill to write about. So you have to find a bill that's related to your topic. All right, then you'll notice if it is a federal level bill or a state level bill, if it is a Senate bill or a House of Representatives bill. Senators are not allowed to vote on House bills, and representatives are not allowed to vote on Senate bills. So you have to make sure you're writing to the correct person. You're not going to write a letter to somebody who can't vote on that particular bill. All right, that's a great way to lose points. You do not want to do that, okay? So there are links here, and you have access to this slideshow. Links up here for the state level bills, all right, and links here for the federal level. Let's pull one of those up so you can see it. And you can search by topic or keyword. That's what I would recommend doing. So for example here, if mine was to prevent tobacco use, I might type in vaping because that's a current issue. So if there's going to be a bill, it's probably going to be related to that. All right, so if we go down, you're going to notice the second one there, it says HR 5886, okay? HR means House of Representatives. So this is a House bill. It's been introduced and nothing has happened. This would be a great one to write about, okay? They haven't voted on it yet, or it hasn't passed if they did vote. So this would be a great one to write on. Now, how do you figure out if you want to pick this bill or not? You would click on it. All right, and then you're going to want to look at the text and read what it's about, okay? And then as a group, is this a good one? Should we write for them to support this? Or should we write for them to vote against this? And you've got to have a reason why, right? How is it going to help or hurt your topic, all right? And people that are dealing with your topic. All right, so there you go. It's as easy as that. Actually, I want to go back. So if you were to pick this one, you would write to a U.S. House of Representative, okay? Representative. So you need to always know if it's a House bill or a Senate bill. So I'll show you what a Senate bill looks like too. All right, if you scroll down, you're going to look for an S. So here we go. S3223. So this would be a Senate bill. Okay, looks like the sponsor is a Democrat from New Hampshire. All right, so I click on that. So if you were going to write about this one, you would either address it to Senator Klobuchar or Smith. All right, because those are the two Minnesota federal senators. All right, so you'd read what it is about and then decide, oh yeah, this one's better than the other one. This is more about what we've learned about in our research or whatever. We're more knowledgeable about this than the other one. Or maybe it affects teens more versus college age students. So you want to pick this one versus the other one or whatever it might be. All right, you decide that as a group. Okay, kind of talked about this already. Make sure you've got the right person, the person who can actually vote on it. Senator Klobuchar cannot vote on Minnesota level Senate bills, even though she's a senator. She is a U.S. senator, okay? So she works in D.C. They vote on very different bills than what the senators, Minnesota level, state level senators vote on. Those folks go to St. Paul. If you've ever been to the Capitol, that's where they work, all right? So the federal level, they're in D.C., all right? They have Minnesota offices back here to meet with constituents and people, but they work in D.C., okay? So they probably have an apartment out there because they're staying out there for days or weeks at a time as well, all right? So make sure you get the right person. I cannot stress that enough, all right? So how do you know who that person is? If it's not, like senator's easy, right? Because there's two of them, and it doesn't matter where you live in Minnesota, right? They're the same two, okay? But for everybody else, you're going to have to type in your address. So I'm going to type in Eastview High School. If I lived at Eastview High School, which sometimes, not right now, but I feel like I do. So, but if I did, these would be my elected officials, okay? So if I was going to be Writing about a state level bill, if it was a Senate bill, I would address it to Senator Greg Clausen. If it was a House of Representatives bill, I would address it to Representative Robert Bierman. Okay. If it was a federal level bill and it was a House bill, I would send it to Angie Craig. And if it was a Senate bill, as I said before, one of these two, Senator Klobuchar or Smith. You can just choose. Doesn't matter which one. They both get to vote on all Senate bills. All right. So that's how you find out who represents you specifically. Okay. Now, again, I said the letter is going to be from one person in your group. So that one person, whoever is going to sign the letter, that's the person who needs to put in their address. Okay. Now, you do need to address a letter and find that person's, that legislator, the elected official's official address. All right. Mailing address, not just email, but mailing address, because you'll need that for the format. That's what will go, at the top in the heading of your letter. All right, so paragraph 1 is your intro. State your name and tell them where you are from. Tell them why you are writing to them. All right, you are not writing to them because it's an assignment. Okay, I'm just telling you that right now. You don't list all your group members. You just list whoever the person is that's writing the letter. One person is who's actually going to write the letter. The whole group will help them write that letter, but it will only be from one person. You are writing to them because, I don't know, you got to tell them, all right? But something along the lines of how your topic impacts you, your classmates, your family, your friends, your peers, whatever it might be, okay? People that you care about. Maybe it impacts a group of people who you feel they don't have a voice, and so you are advocating for them, all right? Whatever it might be. Okay, in that first paragraph, you will also ask them to either vote for or vote against the particular bill. Make sure you name the exact bill. And then you will move on to the second paragraph, which will be your longest paragraph. This is your why. This is where you have to persuade them to either vote for or vote against it, all right? You'd be surprised how many topics elected officials they're not very educated on, okay? They know just enough. They know a little bit, but this is why there are lobbyists, okay? This is why it's important for them to hear from you, is because they need to hear what's going on with the topic. So this is where I want to see several statistics, multiple statistics, or facts, okay? Things about your topic. Now, if the person who the letter is going to be from has a personal story, right? I see how alcohol affects my classmates, or alcohol abuse or opioid abuse affects classmates, or maybe you had a cousin or somebody that was affected by it. That's whoever has a personal story that they could share, that's who the letter should be from. If you're trying to decide who in our group is this letter going to actually be from, that's who it should be from, all right? If you cannot think of a personal story, obviously don't make one up. Then you need to have a lot more research supportive information, statistics, facts, etc. Okay? If you have a personal story, you gotta kind of balance those two things out, because again, you have to keep the letter to a page or a little bit less. And then the third paragraph is your closing and call to action, right? Thank them. Again, ask them to either vote for or against the specific bill and name the bill, and anything else you want to put in there. But this is a short paragraph, just like the first one was. Okay. Again, I said your whole group is going to be writing the letter, right? They're all going to be helping figure out, wordage, how you want to word something, how you want to phrase something. Everybody will be looking for spelling errors, grammatical errors, accuracy, make sure all the stats, everything like that is accurate, making sure that they are cited, right? According to the New York Times or according to whatever. Making sure you're citing the sources so that they know that they can trust the numbers that you're putting in there, the facts that you're putting in there. Okay. All right, that is it, you guys. So again, make sure talk to your teacher, make sure you know how many letters for your quarter your teacher is expecting from your group, okay, so that you don't lose points because you didn't do enough letters. So other than that, you should be ready to rock and roll. And again, it will be up to you. It will be your choice if you want to actually mail the letter off or not. You will be graded on how well you format your letter and the arguments that you make for that person to either vote for or against the bill that you find. Thanks.